Today we're going to continue with if statements, and today specifically we're going to learn about the nested if statement. Alright, so if you could pause the video, go to Schoology, and open up Min of 3 program so you can follow along and fill in, or if you don't want to, just watch. There is a Word document that has all the coding already, unless I go radical and type something else that I was planning on doing. But at the end of this, of course, I will upload a Min of 3 completed one that has all the right coding. And then afterwards, you have a contacts homework that I want you to put together using a nested if statements. So pay close attention. All right. So a nested if. Looking at line 8, you can see that we begin with an if statement. Inside the parentheses are a Boolean statement, something greater than, something equal to, something less than, something true or false. The header of an if statement does not have semicolons. I hope none of you have run into that problem, but remember, no semicolon at the end of line 8. Now, line 9, you notice one-liner, so there's no curly brackets. There's a if-else indented. This if-else goes with the first if statement. Now this if-else, which is 9 through 12, cannot be reached unless the if statement at line 8 is true. So it's protected, you might say. It's unreachable unless that Boolean statement is true. Then it enters the nested if statement. Then you hit another if statement. That statement has to be true for line 10 to be reached. If line 9 is false, it will skip line 10 and execute line 12. This is only reachable if line 9 is false. Now, if line 8 was false, it skips all this section and goes to 13, the else, and this one is reached. Only if line 8 is false. A nested if statement can also be a nested if, else, if, and on and on and on until you reach all the different statements that you need to go over. All right, so let's go ahead and add our, because we're going to use a scanner, so we're going to add our import statement. Import java.util.scanner. Okay. This could be above the comments or below it, just as long it is above the class header. All right, so we have the class header, squiggle bracket, and the squiggle bracket, and now we need an object from the scanner class. So scanner, scan, new, scanner, system.in, semicolon. Okay, so there is our object that we're going to use to get input from the user. All right, so we need some variables. So we have 4 variables, instant variables. They're also, later on, you'll see that the AP questions call them fields. All right, so they're private. They're ints. We have int1. We have int2, we have int3, and we have min. We can declare all the same type on one line. Okay? As long as they're all the same type, you can declare them on the same line. All right? So in our constructor, we are going to establish all these variables as 0. So we're going to set them all to 0. So we can instantiate all to be the same value on one line. Doesn't mean a program goes faster. It's just kind of a convenient way to do that. All right, so let's go down to our program. So now our methods, we have them. We have our program and we have the main method. So now let's ask for a integer from the user. System.out.print enter an integer and press return. Okay. Then of course we want to put that integer in int1. So scan dot next int. Then we want to clear our buffer. And we're going to do that for int1, int2, and int3. So I am going to copy this to save time in typing. And I'm just going to change it to 2. And I'm going to change this one to another. And change this one to 3. And change this word to another. So now we're going to get our 3 values that we're going to play around with. All right, so now we're going to do our nested if. So there's logic involved in comparing numbers. If you had 3 people, you want to know 3 numbers, you want to see who's the less, so you have to ask who's less than who. So if int1 is less than int2, we enter the if. So if int1 is less than int2, all right, so now we're going to do another. This is nested. Notice it's indented. int1 is less than int3, then we know that the smallest one is int1. So if int1 is less than int2 and int1 is also less than int3, then it must be the smallest one. So else, if int1 is less than int2 but int1 is not less than int3, then the min must be int3. All right. So else, this is our else. Now, line 60 goes with line 55. Line 58 goes with line 56. So now we're going to ask, is int2 less than int3? If that's true, all right, we're going to do this in 2 parts. Hold on.